Hello, I'm Nina Serrano. During this pandemic, I've written a few poems, and I'd like to share them with you. This poem is called Pandemic Review, and it was the first poem I wrote reflecting on the pandemic. It had only been a few days. Pandemic Review. Reflecting on our current situation, I find it upsetting and unfamiliar. Yet, I have lived this before. It echoes my life as a child in the 1940s during World War II. Everyone focused on the same global event, filling the broadcasts and newspapers. There was no internet or television, but we glued ourselves to the radio. The minute-by-hour notices impacted us directly, and the people we loved. We lived with scarcity. Food and many other items rationed. We used coupons from our ration books to buy meat, coffee, shoes. We planted victory gardens on empty city lots in wooden boxes on the fire escapes of our apartment building. Women began shaving their legs, putting makeup on them to achieve the stylish look. Kids gave up bubble gum because there was none. We collected tin cans and newspapers to donate to our great collective effort to smash the Nazis. Our fathers, uncles, brothers, cousins, and neighbors were drafted or already overseas in dangerous battle. The threat of death and dismemberment hung like a shadow in every household. Any moment a telegram could arrive. We regret to inform you. We waited in fear through blackouts, air raid drills, and huddled in air raid shelters. News of cities bombed. The war raged worldwide on every continent. We said the names of faraway places daily. Borneo, Iwo Jima, Normandy, the white cliffs of Dover. But unlike today's coronavirus pandemic, when we stay apart, then we came together in face-to-face unity to save democracy and fight the fascists abroad. Now it seems it is our own fascists who run the show, while we actively resist. World War II ended with the tragic bombing of 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. Peace descended, instigating the feverish growth of the consumer society, the Cold War. Now today we have endless war that President Bush promised us for the new millennium. His cohorts have followed through though. But now the British sent home their troops from Iraq to avoid the virus. Will others follow? What if this disaster brings us the elusive world peace? We shelter in place, and already the pollution lessens. You can hear the songbirds sing in the quiet. While a single world focus is familiar, the future is unknown and evolving, and evolving, and evolving, and unfamiliar and unknown. The second poem is called Sheltering in Place, something I have had my fill of. Sheltering in place. Standing in the sun on the balcony, the hummingbird feeder busy with birds, a woman walks by with a fluffy white dog, carrying a little brown paper bag. I call out, "Hello!" In my isolation, I am safe, but I miss the chance for conversation with strangers that brought me so much joy, that filled my long life, that taught me much. She and the dog stopped. Looking up, she said, "Hello! See, I got this at the liquor store. to make into sanitizing spray. She pulls out a small bottle. Clearol, it's 100% alcohol to mix with my aloe vera plant and vitamin E. The dog tugs to move on. Carefully, she puts her treasure back in the bag. She is gone. I need some sanitizer, but it's too late to ask her if it leaves a smell. If the sun is shining, maybe she will pass by again tomorrow. This next poem is called For Whom the Bell Tolls. Today in Italy, a moment of silence, a moment of grief for all the pandemic dying, for all the pandemic dying, a moment of gratitude for the doctors, health workers, first responders who died from tending the sick. A moment of silence for all of us, a moment of silence for all of us. So far from Italy, so far from Italy. Their commemorative ceremony foreshadows our own sad future story. Not enough hospital facilities, not enough medical supplies, not enough public health planning. When we fall stricken, lose our loves, so far from Italy, so far from Italy, we too will lower the flags. The sad notes will sound. The blues will fill the night. A sad time in the old town that night. This poem is called A Pandemic Day. Paul has gone for groceries like a hunter in times of pandemic, armed with gloves and mask. I hope he doesn't catch anything like the COVID-19 virus, but instead finds safe 6-foot encounters on a senior waiting line. I pray for him to come home safely. As I am waiting for my Zoom class to begin, I am waiting too for the pestilence to end and the changed world to be revealed, that it is already hinted at as our CO2 footprint goes down and quiet descends on our urban streets and highways. The voice of the turtle can be heard in the land. The voice of the turtle can be heard in the land. Just before the pandemic, I wrote a love poem, The Green Man. Green Man, I would paint you the color of sky, the way you are to me. Enfolding, containing, you are my ambience, bringing sunshine, cloud, and rain. The sprouting clover comes from you, and many the paths and ways from sorrow to happiness and strength for tomorrow. You emanate the light announcing morning, shining the possibilities of another day, and unexpected sightings of birds and otters, and the surprise of a turtle stopped on the road, hidden in its shell, in plain view, in plain view. This too was written before the pandemic, and we've had another terrible incident similar to this, but this time in Minnesota. But in my poem, it was here in Vallejo, California. Cops kill black men. Cops kill black men. Everyone knows it, even if we don't mention it. We can't call the police when it might be prudent because we fear that someone who is black may be anywhere nearby and might end up dead over a small civil matter compared with human life. The news story says a black man was sleeping in the car with a gun in his lap in the parking lot. Afraid to wake him, 5 cops shot him in unison, 25 times. He is a young man, now mourned by grieving family and friends. So, did he have a gun in his lap while he slept in the driver's seat, or was it planted there by his murderers to explain his death to the taxpayers? How could he fall asleep with a gun in his lap, so near his privates? What if he triggered it in his sleep? Wouldn't that thought alone keep him awake? Too many guns, everywhere guns. In England, the police didn't used to carry a gun. If only we didn't just copy their language, but considered their constabulary tradition worth emulating. As Gilbert and Sullivan said, a policeman's lot is not a happy one. Crime and punishment make a shadow. Where our hate, fear, and violent anger is controlled, we cast the police as the guardians of our safety, the jails as our protection. The devil laughs, pitchfork in hand, administrating justice where money is might and right in a racist, unjust system, trying to fool destiny as we pollute and consume the fundamental elements needed for human survival. We choke on the smell of the sulfur of evil in this eternal conflict between good and bad, hate and love.